Welcome everybody to Dr. Scott's Maths Made Simple. Decimals to fractions. Someone said to me the other day, if I had 0.625, what's that as a fraction? Well, it's actually 5/8. But how do you get from there to there? How do you say 0.625 equals 5/8? Someone else said to me, we should floss every day. I agree with them. I think that's wise advice. Seriously though, if I said to you 0.5, so converting decimals to fractions, I think most of you would say, well, that does equal 1/2. But how do you get from there to there? And I thought about it. And actually, there's a bit more to it than meets the eye. I mean, most people know 0.5 is a half, but how do you actually get from there to there? From the decimal to the fraction? Well, guess what? I'm going to show you. So, I think you'll agree, 0.5 equals 0.5. Is everyone with me so far? Yep. Over 1.0. Anything over 1 is the same as itself. So 0.5 on 1 is 0.5. So 0.5 equals 0.5 on 1. And what about if we multiply the top and the bottom by 10? Well, the top by 10 will make the decimal point go there. The bottom multiplied by 10, the decimal point will go there. So we end up with 5 over 10. Multiply by 10, multiply by 10. So you can multiply and divide, as long as you do the same as the top and the bottom with fractions, you can multiply and divide by the same number. It always works. You can't minus and add. You can't subtract and add things. It doesn't work, but multiplying and dividing does. So we can multiply top and bottom by 10, and we get 0.5 equals 0.5 on 1, which equals 5 on 10. Now, if we divide 5 into both top and bottom, I think you'll agree that 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 10 two, so the answer is 1/2. So that's how we get from there all the way down to there. 0.5 equals 1/2. This is riveting stuff. I'll show you another one. What about if I picked another one, say 0.3? Well, what fraction does that equal? What's that as a fraction? Well, remember, equals 0.3 over 1, or 1.0, same thing, that's just 1. Anything on 1 is itself. Multiply the top by 10, multiply the bottom by 10, and we get equals 3 over 10, because the decimal point goes one unit that way and 1 unit that way if you multiply by 10. So 0.3 on 1 equals 3 on 10, and there's your fraction. That's your answer. You can't divide down anymore. 3 doesn't go into 10. That's as far as we can go. So 0.3 actually equals 3/10. And you probably thought you knew that anyway, but to actually work it out is a bit more complicated. And when you get into other decimals, it can become a little bit more sort of interesting. Let's see, what about 0.47? What is that as a fraction? Well, same thing, 0.47 over 1.00. Same thing, okay? Anything over 1 is itself. What about now if we multiply top and bottom by 100? So we multiply 0.47 by 100, so the decimal point goes 1, 2. We multiply 1 by 100, 1, 2. And we end up with 47 over 100. And that's our answer. 0.47 equals 47 on 100. There's nothing that goes into 47 or divides evenly into 47 that divides evenly into 100. So that's as far as we can go. So this is just a short little talk tonight. I'll just show you the final one that I showed you. Remember I said, what is 0.625 as a fraction? There's a decimal. Well, I think you could probably do this yourselves now. That equals 0.625 over 1. Now it's 1. We generally put the number of zeros that we got in the decimal. So 1.000. So I think you'll agree, if we multiply the top and the bottom by 1,000, the decimal point goes 1, 2, 3, and the decimal point here goes 1, 2, 3. So that equals 625 over 1,000. Now, let's say you didn't know that 125 goes into both these numbers, because most people wouldn't know that, all right? Because if you divide 125 into that, you get 5. Because 5 times 125 equals 625. And 125 goes into 1,000 8 times. So 8 times 125 equals 1,000. Okay, some people will just know that, but most people wouldn't know that. So let's say you don't know that. So I'm going to take this 625 on 1,000, which we've got from here. I'm going to rub this out here. So I'm going to say, so we go back to it, 625 on 1,000. Well, what goes into 625 and 1,000? Well, I'd say 5 goes into both. So 5 into 625, if you're not sure, you can even do it by long division, but because it ends in 5 or a 0, you know 5 will go in there. So 5 into 625 equals 125. 5 into 1,000 goes 200. So we're down to this now. I think you could say 25 goes into this 5 times, and 25 goes into that 8 times. Now, if you can't make that jump with 25, you might say, well, let's do 5 again. 5 into 125 equals 25. Sorry, that is a 5. A very bad 5. In fact, I'll redraw it. There we are. Good, we can do this. Equals 25, and 5 into 200 goes 40. Okay? 5 into 25, so we're going to divide 5 in again. 5 into 25 goes 5. 5 into 40 goes 8. And there we are with our answer. So 0.625 equals 5/8. We just did it by putting it all over 1,000 because there were three decimal places. And then we started dividing commonly divisible numbers into both 1,000 and 625. So we did that. So that's all I want to talk about there. So that was going decimals, like 0.625. How do we get them into fractions like 5/8? And I showed you how to do it. We put it over 1 and then we start dividing. Okay. One final thing, just so you know, in case someone asks you, Mohs scale of hardness is a way of measuring how hard gemstones are. And you probably know the hardest one, it's a 1 to 10 scale, so it goes 1 to 10, and the hardest gemstone at 10 is diamond. Does that mean you can hit a diamond with a hammer? No, it'll just shatter, but you can't scratch it with anything that isn't a diamond. So diamond has a hardness of 10. Number 9 is sapphire. And guess what a red sapphire is called? It's a ruby. That's what a ruby actually is. It's just a red sapphire. Number 8 is beryl, but otherwise known as emerald. Hardness of 7, so these are all getting softer. That's quartz. Very common. And the sand on the beach, this is the last thing I'll say, the sand on the beach is actually not made of quartz, or I used to think it was made of quartz because it looks like quartz to me, but it's actually feldspar. It's a rock called feldspar. And it has a hardness of 6. So I'll stop boring you with gemstones, but that's how Mohs scale of hardness works with gemstones. Thank you for listening to me. I hope it's been helpful for you. If you like to subscribe and like, that'd be great. And I look forward to talking to you next time. Thank you.